what's up, my friend? Are you a small business owner that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. My name is Joshua Latimer. Today, we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you're not rich. Now, look, a lot of small business owners have a lone wolf mentality, and I get it. I had that too. I think it's a natural progression of things. But before we even get into the 5 things, the 5 reasons you're not rich, you got to understand that there's a difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. Being a business owner is something that you evolve and graduate into when you have a team and systems and processes. Can you leave your business right now for a month, come back a month later and have more money than before you left? Is that true for you right now? If it's not, you're probably more self-employed, which is great, okay? Being self-employed is awesome. I don't want you to go back to your job working for Larry. Larry was an idiot. I'm glad that you work for yourself. That's amazing. Having a boss isn't that cool. There is massive benefit and honor in being self-employed, but it's not the same thing as building a multi-million-dollar enterprise that serves people, feeds families, creates opportunity in your community. And look, the truth is, for you to build this altruistic, epic enterprise, you're going to have to get rich while you do it. And there's reasons people get stuck in self-employment. There's reasons people get stuck at certain bank account levels. And we're going to talk about 5 of them right now. Now, one of the first reasons why this happens is because of abdication. Abdication, you got to spell that, type it in Google, abdication. Okay, abdication might sound like a fancy word, but it's a simple concept. Imagine this. Imagine I'm a king and I have a kingdom and I sit on the throne. And on my throne, I wear a crown because I am the king of my kingdom, right? Imagine I don't want to deal with the stress of administrating my kingdom. You know, people come and complain, the townspeople are coming to me and they're complaining about this and the sewage system didn't work and the water and all the donkeys are sick and they're falling over dead. There's dead donkeys in the street. I don't know what's happening, but there's issues when you're running a kingdom. And because I don't want to deal with these problems myself, what I do is I can abdicate responsibility. Abdicate responsibility, the best way to think of it is taking the crown off of your head and throwing it onto someone else's head. Now, this is not the same thing as delegation, but they look similar. You see, small business owners or self-employed people, when they first start to scale, they don't delegate, they abdicate. They don't understand the difference. Here's the difference. When you delegate responsibility, you give someone a task, you give them a job responsibility sheet, you give them coaching, training, support, and tools and everything they need to succeed. You hold them accountable, you create metrics and KPIs for them. You do certain things. True delegation is when you hand the baton off to someone who's fully equipped to deal with the challenge that you've given them. Abdication, on the other hand, which happens all the time with small business owners, is when you get overwhelmed personally because of the dead donkeys in the town, right? You take your crown off and you throw it on Bill over here, and Bill's like, I don't know how to deal with the dead donkeys in the town. And then you get mad at Bill because he doesn't do it, right? Which leads to point number 2. The second reason you're not broke is because you're abdicating, hoping someone's going to save your day, right? You're overwhelmed, so you hire someone, go do this. Oh, go sell stuff. You're the sales guy now. But there's no sales training. There's no systems. There's no structure. He fails. And then, of course, the reason he failed is because you abdicated, not delegated. But of course, you don't see it that way, which leads to the second reason so many people are not rich. And the second reason is blame. You know why blame happens? Because you start to gradually realize how freaking hard this is. This is not easy to do. If you want to become a multimillionaire and have this automated business that pays you all this money while you go sit on a beach, you can have that. In fact, there's never been a time period in human history, literally ever, not even close, than right now for you to be able to have that. But that doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy. And depending on your intellectual capacity, your work ethic, the programmed false beliefs you had growing up, it can be harder for some people and easier for other people. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But when things get hard, what do? We blame. What do little kids do when they fight over toys? They blame each other. What happens when expectations are broken? We blame each other. We feel bad for ourselves. We adopt a victim mindset. That's what happens with self-employed people trying to push the rock up the hill to build a real company. You start blaming. You blame Joe Biden. You blame Donald Trump. You blame that your spouse doesn't support you. You blame that your kids are too needy. You blame that your neighbor doesn't put his garbage cans at the road in the right spot. And it's stressed you out so much you couldn't possibly be successful. When is the HOA finally going to do something about this guy? By the way, if you do that, you're the Karen everybody talks about on the internet. But my point is that blaming external circumstances never helps you. You need to blame internal things, okay? Now look, is it true that bad things can happen to good people? Yes, bad things happen to good people. Those are called just extraneous circumstances. It's true that external things can derail your plans for the day. It's true that you can get a flat tire, but you getting a flat tire is not the reason you're not successful. When you blame external things, my flat tire is why I'm not successful. Joe Biden's why I'm not successful. What you're doing is you're uncoupling personal responsibility from the result that you seek. And it feels good to not be responsible for our failure, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good to be told that it's not your fault, that the government's kept you down? Doesn't it feel warm and fuzzy? Because guess what? Now there's no burden on you to get up, pull your bootstraps up, and go kick butt. You don't have to do that because it's impossible. Clearly. I mean, they didn't use my pronouns. How am I going to succeed in business? What are you talking about? Pull your... What's wrong with you? Get out of here. Listen, blame is a bad idea, okay? Taking responsibility is a good idea. When you get a flat tire, it's called a contributing factor. So let's say you're trying to make $1,000 today, and on the way to you going to get the $1,000, you get a flat tire, and now you make $0. That's a bummer, right? And what happened to you was an external contributing factor, okay, stopped you that day from making $1,000. Now, if you fall into the blame loop, you don't even try to make money anymore, right? Because one bad thing derailed you temporarily. You pretend, in an effort to uncouple your own personal responsibility from the outcome, you pretend like it's impossible to go make the $1,000, but that's not true. You see, the determining factors of your success are your mindset, your grit, your own ability to endure pain and suffering long enough, your ability to serve other people around you, to lead people around you. There's all these like internal things like leadership and hard skills like sales and persuasion and marketing and systems and all these things. These are the determining factors of success. These types of things, these internal things, are the things that make you or don't make you successful. The flat tire is a contributing factor to success. If you didn't get a flat tire, you would have got there a little faster, but getting a flat tire doesn't mean you can't get there. The third reason so many people are not as successful as they should be, they're not rich, is escapism. I think escapism has always existed, of course, right? That's what drunkenness comes from. That's why drugs are appealing. My wife one time, she's kind of like innocent and naive. She's never done like I'm like the bad kid in the relationship, okay? I'm like the wild child entrepreneur that's done everything and done crazy stuff. She asked me one time, she goes, Josh, I just don't understand why people do drugs. And I looked at her really slowly and I said, to get high. That's why people do drugs. This isn't complicated. I'm not confused why people inject heroin into their body, okay? This is not a confusing topic for me. It's to escape the pain. It's to shut your brain off, especially if you're an overthinker, if you're prone to anxiety, especially if you feel like you're just buried in stress. Escapism is a massive temptation to push pause on the painful reality that you're living in. But escapism makes it almost impossible for you to get rich. The Bible talks countless times about how laziness leads to poverty and all these things, but it's not just laziness, it's escapism, right? We want to watch TikTok. That's escapism. When we spend hours binging Netflix shows, that's escapism, right? When technically speaking, when we just watch lots of videos like this endlessly, pretending like we're being productive, it's a form of escapism because we're trying to avoid the painful reality of the next thing we need to do. Look, here's the truth. You don't need to know all the steps to get what you want. You already know the next step, but you're just not doing it. And so while you're not doing it, you escape through various means in an effort to pretend like you're doing something productive, even though you're not, or you escape just to straight up numb it and turn it off and go like this, la, 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 la. You know, from time to time, I think we all have a little breakdown and we need a minute and we need to escape, and that's okay. But if this is a pattern in your life, at a minimum, okay, I'm not shaming you, but at a minimum, recognize it for what it is, label it for what it is, and start working on it. The fourth reason so many people are not rich is because they think they know, but they never do. They think they know, but they never do. I've said in other videos that the biggest threat to learning is thinking you already know. If I surveyed 100 people and said, do you understand marketing? Out of the 100 people, let's say that 76 of them would be like, oh yeah, totally do. Yeah. And then I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 76 people that think you know marketing, what extent do you understand marketing? The deep, nuanced levels of marketing, right? If 10 is grand master chess champion level of epicness of knowledge, and a 1 means you don't really know anything, where are you? Most of the people would rate themselves like a 6 or a 7. The reality is that most of the people are a 1. We have a gross misunderstanding of how much we know in the first place, and we also have a misunderstanding of how valuable knowing stuff is. You know, have you ever noticed that there's a lot of arrogance among college professors? You ever notice that? That there's this weird academic, puffed out chest pride bravado that they have? I don't know if it's just because they got thrown in lockers in high school and picked on. I don't know. It could be that. It could be a contributing factor. But now that they have 17 degrees and they've read lots of books, they somehow think that they're better than other people. There's a reason why a lot of academics are very hostile and bitter towards successful entrepreneurs. You see, a lot of good entrepreneurs didn't even make it through high school, and they have academics and people with degrees that work for them. People that make the most money don't read the most books necessarily. There's a correlation to knowing stuff other people don't know so you can do things other people can't do. That's true. But endlessly pursuing the pursuit of knowledge alone and endlessly consuming information doesn't move the needle in your bank account. Academics don't understand this. They have a misunderstanding of the economy, how value creation works, how capitalism works. They feel that because they read lots of books, they should make millions of dollars. When we got people like Jordan Belfort, which is the Wolf of Wall Street movie guy, who's a pretty shady guy, but he's like this roughneck guy that just went out and does stuff. And now that he's out of prison, he's still making millions of dollars, right? Academics hate people like that because he's an action taker and he does stuff. This is the difference between knowing and doing. Myron Golden, who I reference all the time because he's awesome. Shout out Myron. I'll see you next time I'm in Tampa. Hey, here's the thing. He's says that knowledge is the accumulation of truth. It's a great definition. But wisdom is the application of truth. Knowledge, wisdom. Imagine you're walking around picking up knowledge nuggets and putting them in your pocket. That's what academics are doing. They're putting knowledge nuggets in their pocket. And it's pretty cool that they know lots of random knowledge nuggets. It's pretty cool that they know how to look at strata of the earth and look at the fossilized tree and figure out that there is a fossil here that means this. And it's cool that they know that. The problem is, when it comes to making money, is that you make money by doing stuff in the marketplace, not just knowing stuff. You can read every marketing book known to man, but if you don't do marketing, you can't have anything. Knowledge is the accumulation, pockets full of nuggety truths. Wisdom is the application. So that's my encouragement to you. Do you already know what to do, but you're just not doing it? Go do it. Go do it imperfectly. Be willing to be bad at it for a minute so you can be average at it later, so you can be great at it eventually. That's my encouragement to you. And last but not least, one of the reasons people are so broke, they're not rich, they're not reaching their potential, is that they don't have a good ROA. Now, I didn't say ROI, which would be return on investment. I said ROA, which is return on attention. Do you realize that when you consume free products that you are the product? You ever heard someone say that? When you go on TikTok, I see comments, how is this app free, right? Because there's so many magical cat videos and people doing crazy stuff in public. And it's like, how am I being entertained to this level for free? This is amazing, right? Well, it's because you are the product. The human attention span is the most valuable commodity on the face of the earth. Now, earlier I talked about escapism and wanting to run and numb yourself to escape the difficulties that lie in front of you. Now, this is similar to that, but a little bit different. Some people, they're not necessarily trying to escape, but what they're doing is they're mismanaging their own human attention span. You're becoming monetizable to all these other companies by investing hundreds of hours a month into these platforms, but you're not monetizing your own attention. What if you monetized yourself? What if you monetized your own attention? Everybody talks about YouTube. Oh, when can I monetize? How much does your YouTube channel make? Oh, monetization. If you're a small business owner and you're sitting in your home office, okay, and you're drinking your Diet Coke or whatever, and you're sitting there trying to strategize, look, when you get the temptation to open that other tab and check out ESPN.com, when you're trying to check the NFL power rankings or whatever, the NCAA this and that, when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're taking some of your limited availability of a human attention span and you're giving money to strangers with your attention instead of giving it to yourself. Look, just remember the phrase ROA, return on attention. You know, yes, you can invest money, but more importantly, there's things we choose to invest our time in. And if you invested your time to watch this video to this point, you are a smart cookie, my friend, because you're going to get a good return on your attention with this video. And by the way, we're not monetizing you anyway because we have like 7 subscribers, but we're the best kept secret on YouTube. And if you think so too, please share it with a friend, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to hear on this channel. My name is Joshua Latimer, and I'll see you in the next one.